My beloved child, don't skip this fictional relationship story because what you're about to hear begins with a decision that changed two lives forever. Stay till the end because this isn't a story about winning someone's heart through fate, it's about honesty, personal growth, and the courage to stop living a life that no longer feels true. For a long time, two people had been walking in different directions, carrying conversations that no longer healed old wounds and trying to hold together a relationship that had quietly fallen apart. Smiles had become forced, silence had become more common than laughter, and deep inside, both of them knew that something important was missing. Yet neither had the courage to admit it. One evening, after another difficult conversation, your soulmate sat alone in complete silence. They weren't thinking about replacing anyone or chasing someone new. They were asking themselves a much harder question: am I living honestly with my own heart? That question stayed with them long after the room had grown quiet. In this fictional story, they realized that remaining in a relationship without love wasn't kindness. It was preventing both people from finding the peace they deserved. Listen carefully, because this changes everything. Over the following days, they reflected on every promise they had made, every hope they once carried, and every reason they had stayed for so long. They chose not to blame the other person. Instead, they accepted that some relationships reach a point where respect means letting go rather than pretending everything is fine. It wasn't an easy decision. There were tears, difficult conversations, and moments filled with uncertainty. But honesty finally became stronger than fear. After the relationship ended, they didn't rush into another one. They spent time healing, learning from the past, and becoming more emotionally aware. During that season of reflection, memories of someone who had always made them feel understood kept returning to their mind. They remembered genuine conversations, shared laughter, quiet encouragement, and a connection that had never demanded they become someone else. Those memories didn't erase the pain of the past, but they reminded them that healthy relationships are built on trust, mutual respect, and emotional safety. Weeks later, while watching the sunset from a quiet park, they whispered words they had been afraid to admit, even to themselves. Before I can truly love someone else, I have to become the kind of person who knows how to love with honesty, patience, and courage. In that moment, they understood that the biggest change wasn't the relationship that had ended. The biggest change was the person they were becoming. They no longer wanted love built on fear of being alone. They wanted a future built on respect, open communication, kindness, and two people freely choosing each other every day. As they stood to leave the park, a gentle smile crossed their face for the first time in months. They didn't know exactly what tomorrow would bring, but they knew one thing with certainty: every ending had taught them something valuable, and every lesson was preparing them to recognize a healthier, more genuine love when the right time came. My beloved child, don't skip this fictional relationship story because after making one of the hardest decisions of their life, your soulmate discovers that healing is not a destination, it is a journey. Stay till the end because the next chapter reveals what was truly happening inside their heart when no one else was watching. The days following the breakup feel strangely quiet. Friends notice they have become more thoughtful, spending less time trying to distract themselves and more time reflecting on the life they genuinely want. They no longer wish to repeat old patterns or make decisions based on loneliness. Instead, they begin asking themselves difficult questions they had avoided for far too long. What kind of partner do I want to become? What kind of relationship feels peaceful instead of exhausting? Those questions slowly begin changing everything. Each evening, they take long walks through familiar streets, remembering the moments that shaped them. They realize that love should never feel like a constant struggle to be accepted. It should be a place where both people feel heard, respected, and appreciated. In this fictional story, they stop blaming the past and start learning from it. Every disappointment becomes a lesson. Every mistake becomes an opportunity to grow. They begin reading books, talking with trusted friends, and focusing on becoming emotionally stronger rather than searching for immediate answers. Listen carefully, because this changes everything. One quiet night, while organizing old photographs and messages, they come across a memory that instantly brings a genuine smile. It isn't a grand romantic moment. It's a simple conversation with someone who once made them feel completely comfortable being themselves. They remember how easy it was to laugh, how natural every conversation felt, and how they never had to hide their true thoughts. They quietly whisper, maybe the greatest connection isn't the loudest one. Maybe it's the one that brings peace. That realization stays with them long after they put the photographs away. As the weeks pass, they begin rebuilding their routine. They reconnect with old hobbies, spend more time with family, and slowly regain the confidence they had lost. They stop measuring their worth by whether someone chooses them. Instead, they begin measuring it by the honesty, kindness, and integrity they bring into every relationship. The more they grow, the more they understand that lasting love cannot be built on fear of losing someone. It must be built on mutual trust and freedom. One afternoon, while sitting in a quiet cafe, they open a notebook and begin writing a letter they never intend to send. The words flow effortlessly. If our paths ever cross again, I don't want you to meet the version of me that was afraid, confused, or emotionally unavailable. I want you to meet someone who has learned how to communicate honestly, listen with compassion, and choose love without pretending to be someone else. They fold the letter and place it inside the notebook, not because they expect anyone else to read it, but because writing it reminds them of the person they are becoming. As the sun begins to set, they leave the cafe with a peaceful heart. For the first time in a long while, they aren't chasing the future or running from the past. They are simply becoming the best version of themselves, trusting that when the time is right, every lesson they've learned will help them recognize a relationship built on respect, understanding, and genuine love. Somewhere ahead, another chapter is waiting, one that neither of them could have imagined when this journey first began. My beloved child, don't skip this fictional relationship story, because what happens next is the moment your soulmate realizes that some connections never disappeared, they were simply waiting for the right time to grow. Stay till the end, because today their heart begins speaking louder than their fears. Weeks have now passed since they chose to walk away from the relationship that no longer brought either person peace. Life has become quieter, but in that quietness something unexpected begins to happen. They no longer wake up thinking about what they lost. Instead, they begin wondering about the future they are finally ready to create. For the first time in a long while, hope feels stronger than regret. One evening, while sitting alone with a cup of coffee, they accidentally come across an old photograph that brings back a memory they hadn't thought about in months. It isn't a dramatic picture or a romantic moment. It's simply a reminder of someone whose presence always made them feel calm, understood, and accepted. They smile without realizing it. In this fictional story, they understand that the people who leave the deepest impression are often the ones who allowed them to be completely themselves without fear of judgment. Listen carefully, because this changes everything. They begin asking themselves why those memories continue returning. The answer surprises them. It isn't because they are lonely. It isn't because they need someone to rescue them. It's because they have finally become emotionally ready to appreciate the kind of relationship they once overlooked. They quietly whisper to themselves, "I was searching for excitement when what I truly needed was peace." Those words echo in their heart throughout the entire evening. As the days continue, they become more intentional about the life they are building. They stop comparing their journey with anyone else's. They focus on becoming patient, emotionally available, and honest in every conversation. Friends notice the difference almost immediately. There is a calm confidence about them that wasn't there before. The fear of ending up alone has disappeared, replaced by the understanding that meaningful love cannot be rushed. It arrives when two people are both willing to grow together. One afternoon, while walking through a quiet bookstore, they discover a small journal with a simple sentence written across the cover. "The right chapter begins when you stop rereading the wrong one." They smile and buy it without hesitation. That evening they write their first entry. "Today I realized I no longer want a relationship that simply fills empty space. I want a connection that inspires honesty, mutual respect, and the courage to become better every day." Writing those words feels like closing an old door and opening a new one. Just as they place the journal on the shelf, their phone lights up with a notification from someone they haven't spoken to in a very long time. There is no dramatic confession, no emotional speech, only one simple message. "Hi. I hope you're doing well. For some reason, you crossed my mind today." Their heart skips a beat. They stare at the screen for several moments, wondering if they should reply immediately or take time to think. For the first time, they don't react out of loneliness or emotion. They choose patience. Because they have learned that the strongest relationships are not built by rushing toward each other. They are built by two people who have finally become ready to meet again with honesty, maturity, and open hearts. My beloved child, don't skip this fictional relationship story because the message that appeared on their phone is about to begin a conversation neither of them expected. Stay till the end because sometimes the smallest words open the biggest doors. They look at the screen again. The message is still there. "Hi. I hope you're doing well. For some reason, you crossed my mind today." For several minutes, they simply smile without replying. Months ago, they would have answered immediately, afraid the opportunity might disappear. But now they are different. They have learned that meaningful conversations are never built on urgency. They are built on sincerity. Taking a deep breath, they type a simple reply. "I'm doing well. It's nice to hear from you. I hope life has been treating you kindly." They press send and quietly set the phone aside. There is no anxiety. No desperate waiting. Only peace. Listen carefully, because this changes everything. A few hours later, another message arrives. I've been thinking about our conversations lately. They always made me feel understood. I never really thanked you for that. Reading those words, they realized something important. The connection they remembered wasn't built on dramatic moments. It was built on respect, kindness, and the comfort of being completely themselves. In this fictional story, they understand that genuine relationships often grow from friendship before they grow into anything else. Over the next few days, they begin talking again, not about the past, but about the people they have become. They share lessons learned, dreams they had almost forgotten, and the ways life has changed them. Neither tries to impress the other. Neither pretends to be perfect. Every conversation feels honest, calm, and refreshing. They laugh about old memories, encourage each other's goals, and realize how much they have both grown during the time apart. One evening, they decide to meet in person at the same quiet cafe where they once spent hours talking. As they see each other again, there are no awkward silences. The conversation flows naturally, just as it always had. They speak about family, work, personal growth, and the future. At one point, one of them quietly says, "I think we met at the wrong time before. But maybe we've found each other at the right time now." Those words remain in the air for several moments. The other smiles gently before replying. Maybe life wasn't keeping us apart. Maybe it was helping us become the people we needed to be first. Neither of them rushes to define what comes next. They simply enjoy being together, appreciating the honesty and peace they now share. They both understand that trust is rebuilt through consistency, not promises. Every conversation strengthens the foundation they are creating. As the evening comes to an end, they leave the cafe and begin walking beneath the city lights. Before saying goodbye, one quietly reaches into a pocket and hands the other a small folded note. Smiling warmly, they say, "Don't open this until you get home." Curious, they place the note safely inside their jacket. As they walk away in opposite directions, both of them carry the same quiet feeling. Whatever is written inside that note may become the beginning of the most beautiful chapter either of them has ever lived. My beloved child, don't skip this fictional relationship story because the folded note waiting inside the jacket pocket contains words that have remained unspoken for a very long time. Stay till the end because tonight, two hearts finally begin speaking with complete honesty. The moment they arrive home, they carefully place the note on the table. For several minutes they simply look at it, wondering how a single piece of paper can hold so much emotion. Taking a slow breath, they unfold it. Inside, the handwriting is familiar. "There were so many things I wanted to say before, but I wasn't ready. Today, I finally am." Their heart begins to beat faster as they continue reading. "When life became confusing, I thought walking away from everything would bring me peace. Instead, it taught me the difference between temporary comfort and genuine connection. Looking back, I realized the conversations I valued most were the ones where I never had to pretend. You listened without judging me, encouraged me without trying to change me, and reminded me that kindness is stronger than pride. I don't know what tomorrow holds, but I wanted you to know that meeting you changed me for the better." They lower the letter for a moment, quietly absorbing every word. In this fictional story, they understand that some feelings cannot be forced into existence. They grow naturally when two people have learned from life's hardest lessons. Listen carefully, because this changes everything. Instead of responding immediately, they spend the evening reflecting on everything that has happened. They no longer want a relationship built on assumptions or emotional impulses. They want something lasting, something honest, something that allows both people to keep growing. The next morning, they write a reply. Thank you for trusting me with your heart. I don't expect perfection from either of us. I only hope that if we continue this journey, we do so with honesty, patience, respect, and the courage to communicate even when life becomes difficult. They send the message and quietly set the phone aside. Hours later, a reply appears. That's exactly the future I've been hoping to build. Over the following weeks, they spend more time together, not rushing to define the relationship but allowing trust to develop naturally. They support one another through busy days, celebrate small achievements, and discover that happiness isn't found in dramatic moments alone. It's found in ordinary mornings, thoughtful conversations, shared laughter, and knowing someone genuinely cares about your well-being. One evening, while watching the sunset from the same park where they once sat alone, one of them softly says, "You know what I've learned through all of this?" The other smiles. "What?" They quietly reply. "Real love doesn't ask you to lose yourself. It helps you become more fully yourself." A peaceful silence follows. Neither feels the need to fill it with more words because, for the first time, both of them understand exactly what the other is feeling. As they begin walking home beneath a sky filled with stars, one gently reaches for the other's hand. There are no grand promises and no dramatic speeches, only two people choosing to move forward one day at a time, grateful that every difficult chapter prepared them for a healthier, kinder, and more genuine connection. And deep inside, both of them know that the most beautiful part of their story has not been left behind. It is only now beginning. My beloved child, don't skip this fictional relationship story because this is the final chapter, the moment every unanswered question finally finds peace. Stay till the end because the ending isn't about destiny making choices for two people. It's about two people choosing each other with honesty, respect, and open hearts. Months pass, and the friendship they rebuilt continues growing stronger. They no longer measure their relationship by dramatic moments or emotional highs. Instead, they treasure the quiet mornings, thoughtful conversations, shared laughter, and the comfort of knowing they can always be completely themselves. One beautiful weekend, they decide to revisit the peaceful park where so many important conversations had taken place. Sitting beneath the same old tree, they smile as they remember how much both of them have changed. The fears that once controlled them have slowly disappeared. The misunderstandings that once created distance have been replaced by honest communication. Looking back, they realize that every difficult chapter taught them something they needed before they could build a healthier relationship together. Listen carefully, because this changes everything. One of them reaches into a small bag and removes the very first handwritten letter they ever exchanged. Smiling warmly, they read the final lines aloud. "If life ever gives us another chance, I don't want us to repeat the past. I want us to create something better, built on trust, patience, kindness, forgiveness, and the courage to always tell each other the truth." They both smile, realizing those words have quietly become the foundation of everything they now share. As the sun begins to set, one gently takes the other's hand and says, "I used to believe love was about finding the perfect person. Now I know it's about two imperfect people choosing to grow together every single day." The other smiles through happy tears and replies, "And no matter where life takes us next, I promise that we'll face it as a team." In that quiet moment, there are no dramatic speeches, no impossible promises, and no fairy tale perfection. There are simply two people who have learned from the past and are ready to build a future based on mutual respect, honesty, encouragement, and unwavering support. Over the following months, they continue creating a life filled with ordinary moments that become extraordinary because they share them together. They celebrate birthdays, comfort each other through difficult days, cheer for each other's dreams, and never stop communicating with kindness. Friends and family notice how peaceful their relationship has become, not because they never disagree, but because they always choose understanding before pride. One evening, surrounded by the people they love most, they make a simple promise to one another. No matter what challenges tomorrow brings, we will protect the friendship that brought us together, the trust we've worked so hard to rebuild, and the love we've chosen every single day. As everyone applauds, they look at one another with grateful hearts. They understand that the greatest victory was never that one relationship ended. The greatest victory was that both of them became healthier, wiser, and more compassionate people who were finally ready to build something lasting. Before going home, they pause beneath a sky full of stars. The night is peaceful. The future is unwritten. But for the first time, they are no longer afraid of it. They quietly smile, knowing that the strongest relationships are not built by chance alone. They are built through daily acts of kindness, honest conversations, forgiveness, patience, and the choice to keep growing together. And from that day forward, every new sunrise reminded them that love isn't proven by grand declarations. It is proven by the quiet decision to keep choosing one another, every single day.